Welcome back, everybody, to We Talk Film. I'm your host, Barry, as always, joined by Clayton, as always. How you doing, Clayton?
Hello.
We're here. We're doing
good.
things.
We're here as always, Barry.
Always.
Whatever you said, I
yeah, I don't even know what I said. I'm pretty sure I missed half what I said as well when it was coming out of my mouth.
Man.
So much going on at the moment, man. So much going on.
It feels like your intros are getting quicker and quicker as we go. Maybe that's just me, but you're just like, boom, let's get it out.
Boom, let's just get dough. You know, we already got an hour to film these things. You know, it's only a short amount of time. We've got so much to talk about. Maybe we start doing 5-minute podcasts and see if that could be the new trend. 5-minute podcasts?
Yes. 5 minutes a year, maybe.
5 minutes a year.
To that.
I have to check my timetable.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if that's going to fill a spot in my calendar or not.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now.
All right, Barry. Well, guess what's happening this week? Today.
What are we doing, Clinton?
We've got a very special episode today because today, not tomorrow, today. We're losing it already.
We are losing it.
Coherent
like season 2, we're just like, nah, fuck it. We thought we were doing well first season. It's like, this is like season 2 coming in. We're just like, we don't care anymore. We did an entire season. We did the first year. We're just like, screw it. This is us now. We're just going to do nothing. Yeah. I will sit here for an hour and not talk. That will be the episode.
As soon as you press record, I forgot just everything I was going to say. Sorry.
Exactly. It always happens. It always happens. Fine.
Yeah.
So what do we have today?
Yes, we are bringing 2 films this week. Not 1, but 2. Whoa, it's very special. And 2 films specifically because they're ones that we missed. These are 2 films that came out towards the end of last year that we've only been able to get around to watching recently. So we thought we would cover both Dream Scenario, the newest Nicolas Cage film, and then Society of the Snow, a new Netflix film. So we're going to be covering both of those today. But before we get into those, let's throw it over to the news section.
Assemble!
Clayton has his own news team now.
News team assemble! Yeah, we're doing the Ron Burgundy thing.
We're doing the Ron Burgundy thing. You're basically Ron Burgundy. Grow a moustache.
I need a... just go like this for YouTube viewers.
Yeah.
Okay, first story this week is we got news from Daredevil Born Again, a highly anticipated Marvel show that has gone through a whole bunch of troubles, rewrites, production hell, so to speak. But this is good news. This is good news for it. The first good news that we've had for the show in general. So take that.
We got good news.
But yeah, Daredevil Born Again is it's starting filming again this week. They're returning to filming. So obviously the show has been rewritten. All of that has come together well. And the show's ready to continue shooting. So that's good. It says resuming filming. So they're using bits from the show. So it's not a complete rewrite. Reshoots. It seems like they're working with what they've got and filming what they need. So hopefully it all comes together well. I guess we'll see when it comes out in 3 billion years or whenever it's done.
Whenever it comes out in MCU's timeline of things that have coming out. It's a total mess at the moment. So hopefully 2025 it comes out.
Hopefully. And we got into all sorts of Marvel things last week when we discussed Echo, a terrible Disney Plus show. Sorry to spoil the episode, last week's episode, but it sucked. Our podcast was slightly more entertaining, and that's saying something.
It really was. I actually watched our podcast more than I watched Echo.
Yeah. That's true. Okay. All right, next story this week this is one that I'm kind of intrigued by because it's based off of a video game that I played and really enjoyed. A game called Until Dawn, which was a really fun sort of spin on the Telltale style choose your own adventure genre. It's getting a film. They're turning it into a live action adaptation, and it's being done by director David Sandberg, who did both the Shazam films.
Okay. That's a bit
like a
odd casting. Yeah, but didn't he used to do horror films though? He used to. That's how he got started and all that stuff. So yeah.
Yeah.
See?
I mean, Shazam 2 was a horror film of a different kind because it was awful. but the
Yeah.
first one was okay. I don't know. It could be good. It feels kind of wacky considering the game itself plays like a movie, and the whole choose your own element was the big draw from the game.
The
and a
one
movie
thing,
can't really do that.
The one thing I hope they do though for the show or the movie is actually they get the original cast from the game. I want to see Rami Malek come back.
That would be great because obviously if you don't know, the game itself is the cabin in the woods sort of scenario in the mountains. It's a teenage 80s thing, yada yada. But you play as the people and you basically choose what they say and what happens, and everybody can die if you're an idiot. And it's great fun. It's so fun to just mess around. And Rami Malek's in it. He acts as one of the people. It's really cool to see him because this was pretty much pre-mainstream for him. This was him coming into it. He obviously had shows like Mr. Robot by then, but he was not big name. He was not a big name.
No.
And it's great. So it could be cool. The cast is a bit old considering the game was like 10 years ago. I guess we'll see. I don't know what they'll do. They might bring. We don't know any other information, so that's that one. Okay, moving away. Okay, we got some news out of the Breaking Bad universe. A well-represented show in terms of media. Seems like everyone knows of it. If they haven't seen it, you can quote this show. I'm one of those people, but. Giancarlo Esposito, an actor that I am a huge fan of for his work in such things like The Mandalorian, he has come out and said that he is actively pushing for a Gustavo Fring spin-off in the style of Better Call Saul. He wants to do another prequel, sort of doing his rise to power sort of thing as a show, and he just wants to do that.
Yeah. Okay. Sure, why not? I mean, I'd be more happy to see more stuff come out of the Breaking Bad universe. That's the thing. I still need to finish off Better Call Saul, but that was really well done from what I have seen and everything like that. And it'll be interesting to see what they do with his character. I suppose they can obviously make him a little bit younger. They did kind of do it in a couple episodes already of Breaking Bad.
Yeah,
a bit. So yeah,
a little bit. Well, speaking of Better Call Saul, throwing it away from them, throwing it away. It has set a record. It has broken a record for the most ever Emmy nominations without winning anything.
Yep.
It has had 53 Emmy nominations since the show started in 2015, which is in of itself is insane. And then it has not won a single one, which that's pretty nuts considering it's gotten so many. But yeah, I guess sure.
Yeah, I thought it would at least get one. For at least the season finale or something like that. But that's insane that a show like that hasn't even won an Emmy.
No, it's pretty crazy. Okay, and then moving over to the final story this week is Peacock, a streaming service that no one has. Well, it just had its biggest opening weekend ever because the TED show premiered on there. And that is doing really well. People are liking it. Seems like Peacock are loving it.
Yep.
Yeah, I haven't had time to delve into it yet, but everyone that has is saying that it's really funny and good, and it's worth a watch. So
it is. I can honestly say one of the best comedy shows or first seasons of a comedy show I've seen in the past 15 years.
Oh wow,
the level of comedy that's the thing. It's Seth MacFarlane writing it all. I think only a couple episodes he didn't write, but obviously he was still part of it and he was still directing majority of them. But it's basically just more Seth MacFarlane. It's early Family Guy comedy and it's great.
Well, that's good. Yeah. That's the best kind because it's Family Guy has not been good since the first couple seasons. Yeah, and even that's the thing.
Because I was watching an interview with Seth MacFarlane about how long it's been since he's actually done Family Guy and stuff like. He hasn't written a Family Guy episode in almost 15 years.
Yeah, that's how long it's surprise me.
Yeah, I was like, wow.
Doesn't surprise me at all.
He's he just gave up on it.
I mean, fair enough. It's gone on for so long. He just does the voices. He gets that cash bag.
He gets that cash.
I don't blame him. Okay, so that's it for the news, I think.
Ooh,
that's
good news.
That was some good news.
Good news. Yes.
Good news,
okay,
everybody.
So the first thing that we're going to talk about this week is Dream Scenario, directed by Christopher Borgley. starring Nicolas Cage, Lars Knudsen, Ari Aster, Tyler Campbell, Jacob Jaffke, and a bazillion other people.
There's a lot
Michael
of people.
Cera's in it. Julianne Nicholson, Tim Meadows, a billion other people. And okay, where do we get started with this movie?
Well,
it's a weird
before we get
film.
started, I have a little clip that we need to play for the podcast and the listeners.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, you forget about that. You know, this is one of those things you always forget about. But here it is.
Well, fame can come with some less desirable side effects. You should be prepared for that.
Maybe we should cool this thing off.
What? What do you mean?
It's embarrassing.
Which part?
Guess I'll see you in my dreams.
Yeah. Of course not.
So yes, that is the clip for Dream Scenario. Obviously, the first film we're going to be talking about today. So why don't you take it away, Clayton? Because you absolutely love this film by the sounds of it. This is one of your type of films. As soon as you told me we're watching this, I was like, this is such a Clayton film. It's another Asteroid City all over again. Here we go.
In a way, yes. And I will say, we'll get into that in a little bit, but I did really enjoy this film. I felt like it was a quirky little fun watch. Yeah. It was far from the best movie of the year, but it was definitely one of my most enjoyable ones. Because I just loved sitting down, just smiling at this movie from start to finish, enjoying all of the aspects of a quirky little fun time. Because I love those kind of movies. So I guess I'll give some plot rundown. Kind of describe what the movie's about before we really get into it. It is basically sort of a black comedy. It stars Nicolas Cage as an old dude. He's balding in this. He looks way older than he does in real life.
I mean, he looks around about his age that he should be, so that's all right.
Maybe it's the hair. I think it's
maybe it's the hair. It's the hair.
Yeah. So basically, Nicolas Cage's character, he's a professor in college. He teaches like entomology, ants, insects, sort of ecological sciencey stuff. But anyway, he's trying to get a book written, and then all of a sudden he starts appearing in people's dreams. His ex shows up, and she's like, "Hey, I was dreaming about you," and then they're like, "Okay, that's weird." His kids start dreaming about him. Then suddenly people in his school do, and then all of a sudden everyone on planet Earth starts having dreams about Nicolas Cage just kind of standing around in all sorts of weird, wacky scenarios.
So basically, this was the early 2000s when everyone did dream about Nicolas Cage when he was in his prime doing National Treasure.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
But then, then the film itself starts delving into some horror elements. It gets wackier. Nicolas Cage starts killing people in dreams, starts having sex with people in dreams. It's a whole wacky thing, and that's pretty much the rundown as to what happens in this film. So I guess I'll just throw it over to Barry, and he can tell me his thoughts on the film.
Well, it is definitely one of the most certainly more wackier films we've watched for the podcast. And as soon as I sat down and I got to the first 10 minutes of it, I was like, all right, I know what I'm getting into. It's going to be one of Clayton's favorite films. He's going to give this thing like a 9 like he did for Asteroid City. And so I sat down begrudgingly and watched all through it, hoping anyway it was going to get better. I will admit, though, what I do love is Nicolas Cage's performance in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
It's definitely like the standout performance like in recent years that I can remember for Nicolas Cage. Because a lot of the things he's done for the past like 10, 15 years now has been a bit mediocre. And then he did this kind of like weird, strange character. And I was like, okay, wow, that's a bit different.
It's the best thing he's done since Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, because that was great. Even though he was playing himself.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
That doesn't really
but
count.
He's playing himself, so that's fine.
Yeah. That's fine. But this was definitely one of my favorites of his.
Yeah, because that's the thing. It's just like he acting like an old man in this one, like a real weird, just dorky kind of guy that's meant to be this average dude that no one really cares about in the beginning of the movie. Like this thing, his family just don't really care about him. No one in his life really cares about him. He just gets on his day life, and then everyone starts dreaming about him. And I was like, oh, all right, they got to do some really strange, wacky things with this. And then they did. And then like the whole viral marketing of it all with Michael Cera, I was like, what? It's like that was an actual meeting that happened. And then obviously events cause him where he's obviously starting to murder people in their sleeps. I will admit the whole dream sequence thing and the idea of it all is absolutely amazing, but it was just the whole ending part to it, and the payoff was just like it was a thing. The end. I was like, what? So like you're not gonna say as to why it all happened and stuff like that. It was that's what got me. Like I always need like a payoff or something for a film and everything like that. But when you got to the end of this, like it just stopped, and then it's like a year later, he's just like divorced from his wife now and like trying to find an apartment, and then the world just hates him for what he did, even though he didn't do anything. And just like his character as well was just a bit like, it was great, but it was just so like, I don't know, it was just kind of weird and creepy in a way, the way he was performing this character at times and like trying to be in the normal world. And it's just like, people don't even act like this in the real world. You're just being strange and bizarre. Like think rationally a bit more, especially when like all the social media of it all, when it started to become famous. I was like, you could like think rationally. You're a professor, for God's sake, like think.
Yeah, well, I feel like that's kind of the charm of it all. The fact that you say that it doesn't have a payoff, and I'm going to hit you back with, well, that wasn't the point of the film, Barry.
It needs a payoff. It's
I know,
Asteroid City all over
that.
again.
But I like the fact that it left it open-ended like that. Some of my favorite films do that. My favorite film of all time does that with Sing Street. It has an open ending.
Yeah.
And this is... I loved it because he gets famous, starts freaking out because all of a sudden every single person on Earth knows him and wants to get him in Sprite ads and a whole bunch of other things.
Sprite ads and meet Obama. That was a thing at one point. I was really hoping they had Obama in this film.
That would have been really funny.
It would have.
Like cameos. He goes in his dream. That would have been so great.
It's like, hi, Nick, I'm Obama.
But yeah, no, I feel like that was not the point of the film. The point of the film was just kind of throwing him into this wacky scenario and not letting him make sense of it, which in turn made it wackier, made his performance more entertaining, made him have to deal with the fact that he's never going to know why this is happening. And that of itself causes more drama. So I really liked it. And it seems like not many other people did. It seems like people think it's okay, but for the majority, it's like, Yeah,
well, that's the thing. Yeah, very much for me, it's still just like, That's the thing. I do like Nick Cage's performance as like that character type, even though it was weird and creepy and everything like that. I was just hoping they would like do more of like the whole dream sequence thing, because it got to that point. There's a point in the film where he starts having, he has one dream of himself being hunted down by himself.
That's right.
Type thing. I was really hoping from that point on, he would actually like start evolving a bit more into something. And if it actually became more of a reality than like a whole dream thing, and that he was being like hunted by himself, or the people would start going into his dreams and then they would start hunting him and like get more wacky on that side of things. But no, it just stops. And then the last half hour of the film is him just being like, it wasn't my fault. I have to continue with life now, and him going to France because the French people love it. Apparently, the whole dream sequence and him murdering people. French people are weird.
Yeah, it's so weird. And then the film. Okay, so the ending of the film. Throughout the film, he jokes with his wife because his wife was the only one that wasn't dreaming about him, and that eventually led to their divorce. But he jokes that if she did dream about him, he would show up in the David Byrne talking head suit and save her. And then, of course, that's how the film ends. Is he... Yep. Okay, so that's another weird element to the film. And this is the one part I didn't like. Is the whole weird dream technology which happens like towards the end.
Yeah, that's right. I totally forgot about that part.
Sell ads in dreams, and they wear these wristbands that let you see ads in your dreams. That doesn't make any sense, and it's also, why would you wear a wristband that makes you get dream ads anyway?
Yeah,
yeah. Stupid.
I'm just like,
So
I
anyway,
definitely want to have ads in my dreams and be paranoid by Coca-Cola every single night.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense, and it loses a couple points for that weird element that doesn't do anything. That was a bit unnecessary, but it does give a way for him to appear in his wife's dream, who they're now divorced. He saves her, and then it ends with them dancing, and then he starts floating up into the sky. And
that's
then
right,
City of Dreams by Talking Heads plays, and that's how it ends.
And everyone loves Talking Heads at the moment.
Yeah.
We said this on the
talked about
podcast last
talking-
week. We're talking about Talking
We
Heads. I think
did.
we're going to do an episode about Talking Heads coming soon.
Heads? Well, we were going to when we nearly went to go see
We
Stop Making
nearly
Sense.
did, yeah.
And that's coming out in cinemas again now because of the new album that we talked about last week. So
Oh
we
wow!
might end up
Okay,
doing
so we
that.
might end up doing it. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But yeah,
See
no,
how
because
we go.
even the whole floating of him at the end, because that's what happened to his daughter. Because that's how we're first introduced to the
Yes.
dreams
Yeah,
in the beginning. And that's what I was thinking. It was like, is it gonna come full circle type thing? But no, the movie just ends. It's just credits. I'm just like, what? I'm just like, there's nothing more upon that. He's just alone now in his apartment doing his weird dream band thing and getting adverts from people now. Like, okay,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Oh.
Apart from the dream bands, I really liked the ending. I thought it was great, but yeah, the dream bands was a bit too much weirdness. I don't know.
Yeah,
Because it's not explained how that works either, and it feels like it explained that, but without explaining the dreams themselves. If it did both, it might have worked a bit better, or if it did just having the dreams be this weird phenomenon, and then nothing else happens because of it, that'd be cool too.
Or maybe
it
this
had
is
to-
all just
yeah.
a setup for like another film they're gonna make, and it's gonna be like everyone's in the dream world now. Welcome
It's
to
all just a dream.
the metaverse. Dun, 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 dun.
It's
This is basically what
Matrix.
Facebook want. This is what Zuckerberg wants.
It's a prequel to the Matrix.
It's a prequel to the
Yeah,
Matrix.
It's Ready Player One.
It's Ooh, I mean.
Oh, yeah. I mean, dream. Okay, so dream scenario.
Dream scenario
what else-
is that
what else-
he is a loser and everyone hates him because they're in his dreams. And then Michael Cera's there being Michael Cera and being like, you like Sprite? Sure. We're going to put
Yeah,
that in
Michael
people's
Cera's there.
dreams with you while you're murdering people.
Yeah, I don't know. Michael Cera just shows up in things, and I'm all for it. I like Michael Cera, but sure, whatever.
Yeah,
he didn't do
yeah.
anything in this. But it
It
was
was
cool
just
to see.
there.
What?
But that's
what
I
else
don't know
happens in this
I don't
film?
yeah, I don't know much to talk about with this film. I just found it was just so bizarre and everything. And I know like you do get these films every now and again because this is the same thing with Asteroid City and everything. I know you loved Asteroid City. Like it was one of your
I
favorite
really
films
did.
last year. Make sure to go and watch the podcast on when we did it. Because that's the thing. I didn't find that enjoyable. I mean, I liked the aesthetic of it all and everything like that and the style to it all. But it was just the idea and the story and everything. It had no payoff. It was just nonsense. I was just like, what the fuck is this shit? And it's the
was
same thing with this
great.
movie
Oh,
again,
very.
where I was hoping they would do more of the wacky dream stuff and everything like that. But no, the last half hour, it just like, it completely just got me out. He's just like, oh yeah, it's like a year later, he's now depressed. I'm just like, no,
You just don't know art,
I
Barry.
already feel that in
You
real
don't
life. I
appreciate
don't
art.
want to feel that
You
again.
just don't appreciate true art. You have terrible taste in movies, and you're
Say
fired
that-
from the podcast.
Okay,
Ah!
see you later. And that's what's cancelled.
I'm gonna clip that. That's gonna become an Instagram clip.
That's gonna be an Instagram clip now.
There's gonna be no context either side of it. It's gonna
Yeah,
be great.
Great, absolutely great.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah,
I get what you say, and I knew you wouldn't like this film, but I really love it, and I makes me a little sad, Barry. God.
yeah. I mean, I was hoping I would
Appreciate it.
enjoy it too. It's been a while since I've actually sat down and like seen a Nicolas Cage film, and I was just like, you know what,
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
I used to enjoy like his films growing up, like Con Air and National Treasure and stuff like that. It's like, why not? Like, sit down and watch this, and then it was just like, what is this? What the fuck is this? Why am I wasting
I love it.
my time watching this?
I could watch a movie like that every day and never get bored because I love movies like this, and you don't. So you have terrible taste.
Yeah,
Your
definitely have
opinion
terrible taste.
Is no longer valid.
No.
You don't get to even rate this film.
Damn. It's so surprising.
no,
like I give it a
I'm
10 out of 10. That's how much I
damn
hated it.
Oh, you're gonna invent a new rating. You're gonna go like -10.
I'm going to go negative 10.
I'm gonna have to mess with like the whole scoreboard and shit. Oh
yeah,
god.
yeah. It's going to make it even harder
okay.
for you because you like the film.
Yeah, that's
Saying that though,
yeah.
like it's not a bad film. anyone that's like seeing the trailer for it and stuff like that, actually do watch it. It is an interesting concept. For me, the payoff just wasn't there. And it was just like, okay, sure. I've seen worse films, The Flash being one of them, The Marvels being one of them, a lot of Marvel stuff being a lot worse than this. But still, it was just like, yeah, I would have liked to see a bit more of a payoff towards the end of it all than just being like everything's kind of back to normal and he's just depressed and alone now and can't do anything about it. And then we got no explanation upon all the dream stuff anyway. That's what I was kind of hoping for. I hope even when they did do those banned things about the dream technology, I was really hoping with that they were actually going to explain how it all worked. Like it was a psychosis pill or something they were actually secretly testing on Nick Cage's character or something like that. Like a study or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
So, you know, that's what I kind of wanted.
I wish they went the other way and didn't have any of the weird shit and just never explained it. Just had it as this mystery. Because that's
like
what I would have preferred. Like the movie. But I love that kind of stuff. I love just, I don't know, thinking about it rather than being told anything. Like, it's great. But yeah, I do see it. I do see your points. But I mean, this movie had more of a payoff than Echo did. So I mean, is it really that bad?
That's for sure. No, like I said, this is a lot better than a lot of Marvel stuff they've been putting out. So, and I found this as it's an movie. Like I watched it, I wasn't like unimpressed. I wouldn't say it's bad. Just like Nick Cage's performance as this weird, creepy guy is worth the watch alone because he hasn't done any role like this before. And to me, it was just like it was. Oddly enough, like I didn't want to watch it, but I also wanted to watch it at the same time. Like it was so cringy, like his performance at times and everything like that. Yeah. Where it's just like you want to look away, but you're just like, no, but I want to watch more because he's actually really solidly like doing a good job acting in this movie. And I suppose that's the whole point of that character. But yeah, it was just the payoff and the overall story for it all. I was just like, I would have done a little bit differently. But obviously, people have their own thoughts and opinions on things. So I will give that my rating anyway. Will be a 4 out of 10 on this film.
Oh wow! Okay. Yeah. Oh, I didn't even think you'd go that low. If I'm honest.
Oh, it's 2024. It's the season 2 of the podcast. I'm being harsh. We gave a 2 on Echo last week. I'm giving it a 4 this week.
That's true.
And if we watch the best film ever next week, I'm giving it a 1.
Okay, I think I'm going to give Dream Scenario an 8 out of 10.
Yep.
Because I really love this film, and you knew that I was going to love it, and I knew you were going to hate it.
Yeah.
We knew our thoughts and opinions on this movie before we even went into it.
Exactly.
But no, I think
I didn't even watch any trailers for it.
from like a filmmaking aspect or like a creative aspect alone, it's really unique and cool. It's a cool concept, and there's some great acting and some great writing in it. So I guess, especially filmmakers should definitely check it out because it's a fun little quirky A24 film, and there's not a lot of those that are good. So go check it out.
Go check it out. Either way,
it won't be for everyone. You're not guaranteed to enjoy it, but you'll at least go, well, that was fun.
You'll get something out of it. That's all I can say.
You get something.
You'll get something. Yeah. Why is the camera gone all funky? Something.
You became a little square.
I became a little tiny square. Okay.
Okay. All right.
All right. Well, I suppose we should go on to our next movie, which is Society of Snow, which I have a little clip for right here.
¿Lo ves? Hay que intentarlo.
So, yes, we watched, finally, Society of Snow, Netflix's newest film that they've put onto their platform. And, oh my gosh, what a film. I was not expecting this. I did not know about this film whatsoever. I did see like the trailers and adverts for it. And then I found out as well, just before watching it, it's actually based upon true events. And I was just like, oh, this makes everything even worse now. But yes, this is a film about the 1972 Uruguayan Air Force Flight 571, chartered to fly a rugby team to Chile. Catastrophically crashes on the glaciers of the heart of the Andes. Only 16 of the 45 passengers survived the crash and finding themselves in one of the world's toughest environments, and they are forced to resort to extreme measures to stay alive. So yes, this is very much a survival movie, and oh my gosh, what a film. And the whole thing is actually all in their original language as well. It wasn't like an English. It's all in Spanish. I was thinking it's going to be like a dubbed. I was thinking it's going to be like a English American like rehash of it, where they're trying to be Spanish actors but speaking English.
That's the thing. This has been done before. In the 90s, it was made into a movie called Alive, starring Ethan Hawke and a bunch of other people. Exact same story, obviously based off of the same true events, but very Americanized. Obviously, they were all Americans playing the Uruguayans, speaking English, all of that. And that movie's good. But this movie blows it away. This was done by J.A. Boyena, who did The Impossible, which is like the greatest disaster movie ever made.
Yes. Yep.
And he also did Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom.
Oh, okay.
But that was... okay.
Two different extremes there. It's like, what happened, bud?
I don't know. But it gave him the money to make this film, I guess.
I suppose, yeah. He got that money to go make this one, which I'm very happy that he did. Because, oh my gosh, this has been one of those films in quite some time where I'm just like, it got to me. It really got to me. So yeah, basically, we follow the events. It's a 2.5 hour long film, almost 2.5 hours long. I watched it
about that.
all in the original Spanish language because I was like, started watching it in dub, and then I was like, it doesn't match. It doesn't fit. Watch it subbed.
You can't do it.
And then, so for the first 2 hours, obviously, you get introduced to all these characters, the rugby team and everything like that. And then the plane accident happens basically straight away. Like, it's within the first, I think, 20 minutes of the movie.
It's in the first 20 minutes.
First 20 minutes. It's straight in. Like, there's the crash. They have to survive now for the next, basically, 2 hours and 10 minutes of this film. Which was insane because the next 2 hours... Do you want to explain?
I was gonna say, let's talk about the plane crash and everything leading up to that first.
Yeah.
Because holy shit, that was amazing. This film definitely needs to be watched in Spanish. Subtitle it, please, because the performances alone are amazing. Every actor in this film is a relatively unknown actor from Uruguay. They cast people that fit the roles. They had original members, original survivors coaching the people. They literally put them in the mountains and starved them for a bit. It's all shot on location.
Damn.
Everything's there. The director spent 2 days out in the mountains with nothing just to prepare for writing this film as well. It's also loosely based off of a book. They've done over 50 hours of interviews with the real survivors. It's insane. Some of them are in this film as the parents of the people in it. It's crazy cool. Just this whole full circle moment of the people really involved in this event. Everything in this film is real. Like coming and being like, yes, this is how everything happened. This is how it was done. This is insane.
So was it actually filmed in the Andes?
Yes, pretty much. Or at least adjacent location. It was actually filmed in a lot of the real locations as well.
Oh shit!
I think like I think it was either like the airport or some of the
so there's the dead bodies we ate over there. Make sure to film that, all right, Barbie?
Well, that's the thing is towards the end of the film they match the photographs to where they really are.
Yeah,
and a lot of that is where
like,
it really
spot
is.
On. Yeah,
it's identical because it's insane. But yeah, so first 20 minutes of this film, everybody's arriving to the airport. There's a rugby game. They're a rugby team. Get on a plane. Within 5 minutes of being on the plane, it crashes in what is the greatest plane crash sequence I've ever seen put to film.
Yeah. That was pretty full on.
It was gross. It was awful and terrifying.
Yep.
And such an impressive feat of filmmaking because it was amazing.
Yeah.
It's so impressive. Like the director did the same sort of thing on The Impossible, where that was insane and really intense, but obviously Tsunami's a bit more wide scope, Whereas this is very much, what's the word?
Claustrophobic.
You're locked in a room. It's very claustrophobic, intense, and it was amazing. You see people get folded in half. The plane is ripped to shreds.
It's basically something out of Final Destination, but it was like all practically done. And I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's awful. This is a horrible film.
Yeah.
Because it's just
it is.
God,
it is
such a great film.
It's a great film, but it is so depressing and so sad.
It is a bit hard to watch. There's your warning: is this film is depressing as fuck,
and
it
gory,
is hard to get through,
and messy, and
yeah. Okay, so they crash in the mountains, the middle of the Andes. Fucking nothing around. Endless mountains in every direction. There's nothing there. No grass, no plants, no animals, just snow and rock.
Yeah, that's all there is.
You could ever crash. And then why don't you tell us what happens from there, Barry? I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, so basically from there, I think it starts with there was I can't remember. It was like something still 24 of them. No, it was even more. There was like 26 of them 30. Survived the crash. Yeah, about 30.
The plane got split in half.
That still survived and stuff like that. And they're just like, sure, get everyone recovered and stuff like that. Obviously, the next couple of days, people died because of their injuries and everything like that. There was one guy, though, that had a massive turnaround that I thought was going to die and everything like that. The guy that wears the beanie and ends up like saving them all, I think, which was good. I thought he was going to die because he got really badly dinged and all his face was all swollen up and everything like that. But then his sister passed away a couple of days and everything like that. And they're like, all right, so what are we going to do and everything like that? And obviously they go through all the luggage, make sure things and try to find a way out. They end up thinking that they could get batteries for the radio that was on the back end of the tail of the ship. So then we follow this one guy for majority of the film. His name was is it Numa? Numa, yeah. Basically for the majority of the film, you see majority is based upon his thoughts and views on the plane crash even before that and stuff like that. And you're thinking, oh yeah, this entire time it's going to follow this guy. Because I didn't know too much about the crash. Obviously, I knew it was based upon true events. I didn't know who actually survived and all those members and everything like that. Yeah. So I was thinking he was one of the survivors, and it's going to be like, oh, he's probably the guy that wrote the book. So you go through it all, watching all of you, and then obviously they start starving and everything like that. And then obviously, what's the one thing that they have plenty of around still is dead bodies.
It's the one thing they have anything of. They have nothing.
They have nothing else.
Food, there's no
except
warm clothes.
Bodies. So obviously a few of them are very much like, well, we're going to survive because they get the radio like fixed at one point, and then they hear over the radio that after 10 days, the Air Force is no longer searching for them because the storms and the winter's only going to get worse. So there's no point putting more people in risk of all that. They've got to try again once it's all thawed out and once the summer comes in and everything like that. And so they're obviously devastated by that news, and then they still go without food or anything like that until it gets to a point where a majority of them are basically going to die because of starvation. Well, they already are dying, a couple of them. And they're just like, well, we're going to eat bodies. And so a couple of them do, and then a few of them do. And then slowly, progressively, everyone does. Because how long it actually took them to finally be rescued, how long they were out there for, was it 72 days out in the Andes. Which was just like, wow, what? Yeah. They survived for that long. Even the ones that did survive, the 12 of them, is just insane.
It is insane.
That there was some of us. But yeah, basically, you follow Numa through it all and stuff like that. He's trying to calm people down at some points because everyone's going a bit crazy. And he's got the center of the story of it all. And I was thinking, because at one point he tries to find the back of the plane to get the battery for the radio to get in communication and stuff like that. He tries to search there. And then during the middle of this all, they're one night all huddled together, trying to have a good time and everything like that. And then it gets even worse. Take it away.
This was my favorite part of the film because this scared me.
It
takes a lot for a film to scare me because I've seen so many movies that you have to really impress me with something awful and terrifying, and this film managed to do it a couple times. Plane crash was one. This scene was 2.
Yep.
So everybody's having fun. This is halfway into the film. Everything's chill. You don't think anything's gonna happen. They've only just started resorting to cannibalism. Some of them are still not doing it, I think. Everything seems okay. They've boarded up the plane. Everything's good. And then an avalanche happens and buries everyone inside the plane.
Everything.
Everything. They're squished together. It is insanely I don't know how they did this. Just it's so impressive.
Yeah.
Because this is also the best avalanche movie ever made. Because that scene alone is insane. They get buried, people are being trampled, squished together, bodies are compressed. Only one guy manages to get himself out and dig the others, and they're under there for a couple minutes, struggling to breathe. Some of them are dying. It's awful. And then they're trapped, and then as soon as they pull everyone out, a second avalanche does it again, and kills more people. People are frozen to death. People go missing. It's horrible. It is awful.
Yeah.
And it's terrifying.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
No, don't fuck
That's
with the
the
snow.
film.
I am not going to any snow place anymore after watching this film. I'm just like, I just don't want to
getting
be
on a
in that
plane?
scenario. I mean, we'll see.
You know, plane? Let's go on a trip.
Let's go on a trip, yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to join my rugby team and go on a plane trip? We're going across the Andes. Don't worry about it.
As long as I have
No,
Bear Grylls
okay.
with me, it's fine.
So from the avalanche, this is where our main character Numa takes a turn. He freaks. He panics while he's trapped, and he kicks a window open, cutting his leg up. Awful.
Yep.
It is terrible. And that leads to him getting infected. His leg becomes pretty much gangrenous, and he dies from it towards the end. But everybody else is either coming back around or getting worse and dying.
Yeah.
You don't know who's going to survive. You don't know what's going to happen. This movie, despite it being based on true events, throws you every 20 minutes or so because it is insane. And also the fact that it's all real is insane because you could not predict what's going to happen in this film. It's insane. So from there, they basically decide that, well, they can't stay at the plane. They're not looking for them anymore. So a group of a couple just decided to stock up on stuff and walk off into the mountains, see if they can head west towards Chile, I think was their plan. So they just walk off, 4 of them. Numa goes with them, but his leg's fucked, so he has to go back. And he tells the others that they're still going good, which is of course good for them because there's 12 left by now, 12, 15 of them maybe, which is still very impressive considering how many of them survived that long. This is 50 days in, and then 3 of them ended up journeying off, and that becomes 2 because one of them dies, don't they?
No. So Numa comes back.
No.
There's a whole thing because then they
That's right.
find the radio on the back end or the battery from the back end, and they try and get a radio working, and then they hear stuff, but then they're like, oh, we still need to go to Chile anyway. So then another 3 of them, basically they find insulation stuff, and they try to make a sleeping bag. So when they are out in the cold at night, they have a sleeping bag insulation thing. But then they go west, and it's just mountain ranges upon mountain ranges.
Yeah.
This is the thing. The cinematographer for this film did a phenomenal job because it takes in these most beautiful shots, but then it goes back, you snap back into the story of it all where it is tragic and people are eating people, people are dying every second. And it's just oh shit. Because even one of the guys, when he's looking over the mountain ranges, when you think all hope is lost, because they were thinking the reason they go over this mountain range because Chile will be right there if they get over that mountain range. They get up there, it's not there. It is miles away. So they're not sure what to do, and they just sit there and there's this is beautiful type thing. They wait for the other guy to come up, and they're make a plan. All right, well, we can either go back and die, or we can go forwards and basically
die
and see how far we can get before we die. And thankfully, they progress further. I think it was Roberto is one of the guys. I can't remember the other guy that goes there, but it was actually the guy from the beginning of the film where he looked really badly injured. I don't know anything about. He ended up surviving. Roberto. So they end up finding just a farmer guy or whatever on the outskirts of Chile type thing. And then from there, people find out that they're all still alive, and then they go back and rescue the remaining people. And then, basically the ones that did survive are still there. And then there's this really harrowing shot. Because obviously during the course of this film, they do start eating people, and you do see like lumps of meat and everything. They don't actually show you them hacking up the people or anything like that. It wasn't until this shot at the end of the film where they're about to get picked up, where a couple of them are looking at the piles of bones and ribs all sticking out.
Yeah.
And when I saw that, I was like, I nearly puked like watching
It
that.
was awful.
That was awful.
Because they had no other choice. And
Yep.
that is of course talked a lot about during this film was that the right thing to do?
Yeah.
But it's like they had no choice. They were going to starve to death no matter
Yep.
what.
Yep.
And they thought that was the only thing that they could have done.
Well, that's the thing. They were out there for 72 days.
Yeah.
72 days.
Some of them lasted like the first month without eating as well.
Yeah.
They really were like killing themselves over the fact that they didn't want to do anything like that.
Yep.
And then they were forced to. And then we get shots of them trying to bury the bodies while the helicopters and the news reporters and that are coming. It's like, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, they're covering shit up while they take photos of themselves. It's horrible to think about. And even more horrible to watch, but you can't look away because this is such an impressive story.
Oh, yeah.
About human survival.
Yep.
It's insane. And it's done so well. Yeah, the cinematography, like you mentioned, is absolutely gorgeous. It really makes everything look beautiful, despite it also being really depressing.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. The way they shot
yeah.
it made you feel like very isolated, like the characters were in this film. The way that it was shot, it was just like, even as a viewer, you felt isolated while watching this movie.
Yeah.
Well, I had that experience anyway, and yeah, it was just so surreal just to be like, could I do that? As like, if something like that happened in real life, could I actually go to that extent of trying to survive like they did?
And there's no way of knowing. No one would ever know unless you're put in that situation. There's no way of telling what you would do. And they have the same sort of thing. I've listened to podcast interviews with the director and the real survivors being like, there's no way you'd know anything about what you would do until you get to do it. And then this film portrays everything so well. I think it might be the best like survival movie I've ever seen.
It's pretty high up there.
Really
the only one that like comes like close to me, what like always for survival films comes back to me, is the 127 Hours film, just because of the sheer of like cutting off your own arm. That was insane. How they filmed that movie, that was fucked.
And it feels very similar because the whole time you're stuck with a group of people instead of just one person, which again is an impressive film of itself. But you're stuck with a group of people. And because these are all actors that no one knows, and it's all in Spanish, it's all real, it feels more real than 127 Hours. You're not looking at James Franco. You're looking at these people that you don't know. That just as well could be the real people, and you would not know.
Yeah.
That itself puts it so much more higher. And the fact that it's in Spanish as well is impressive. It's a Spanish director, Boyena, who's doing it, so he wanted everything to be portrayed as it was.
That's good.
Which I love.
Yeah.
Again, makes it feel so much more real. And another thing about that is I watched it with my family, which I don't think this is a family movie by any extent.
No.
But and it's also like they weren't keen on subtitles. They're never keen on subtitles.
Yeah.
It's just a family thing. We all know it. But they sat through the entire thing and been like, this was an amazing movie. This was a great movie. Like everybody loved this movie. Because it's really impressive. And I definitely urge everyone to go watch this film right now. Like, go pause the episode, watch it, come back in 2.5 hours, and then listen to the rest of this.
Exactly.
It's that good.
It's that good.
Yeah.
Like, it was so well done. And that's the thing. It's a great estimate as well to see how well it's doing on Netflix, or it has been doing on Netflix as well, especially like America is the #1 film. And that's the thing. Like, a lot of people must be watching it, even though it is Spanish and everything like that. People are still watching this film as well, which is insane. And that's the thing, because it's a long film as well. Like, a lot of people are sitting down and watching a subtitled film, which is insane to hear.
Yeah. I think it's won a couple of awards already. It's won a couple film festival awards. I think, Spain were pushing it for their best film of the year.
Or got nominated for a BAFTA award.
It's been submitted in the Academy Awards representing Spain, and it's made it onto the short list. So it could be pushed for a film of the year. Honestly,
Yeah, well, it could be
it
like best
deserves to be
international
nominated.
film. So
I reckon it deserves that, definitely. But I reckon it deserves a nomination for best film in general
yeah,
at the Oscars and the Academy Awards.
yeah.
I
No,
feel
it
like
was
it's good enough to do that. But Netflix were pushing Maestro more heavily in their marketing than this film as their like thing, which I feel
Yeah.
like is a misstep. Netflix being like, oh well, this film's in Spanish, this film's in English, let's push this one more.
Well, yeah, that
And then
comes
it's
down to
like-
like a marketing thing side of it all, because I
It
think they
does.
were expecting this film to be like, oh, it's in Spanish, no one will watch this film type thing. It's mainly just going
But
to be
it's
for
not. It's
international Spanish.
taken off.
It's taken off more than Maestro did,
love
which is
that.
funny.
No, it's a little funny, but it's amazing. Like the
Yeah.
best part of that is that this film is taking off.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sure the Spanish filming industry is loving it. Can you imagine if an Australian Netflix film was taking off like that was like that?
Oh, yeah,
that
that would be
insane. Like,
amazing.
the closest we was Talk to Me in the horror genre last year that
Yeah,
was
yeah.
killing it. But yeah, this is of course it's a survival movie based on a true story.
Yeah.
I can't remember the last one of those. Like,
Well, that's the thing.
it's
I'm
its own
looking at the
thing.
budget for it now because I was
It
like
was around
seeing
60 mil. I
Yeah,
think.
60 million euros. And
Yeah.
it was 138 shooting days. That is a
Yeah.
long production. Like, damn.
Yeah, because they
Um,
really put people through that. The actors
yeah.
themselves were on strict diets to like look the way they did towards the end of the film. It was probably a terrible experience for those involved,
yeah.
but it makes it so much more impressive because they really did the story justice in a way that I've probably never seen before. It honestly might be like one of my favorite true events movies as well.
Yeah, no, it's
Like,
pretty high up there.
Based off of a single true event. This is definitely up there, especially for
Yeah.
recent years.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I can't praise this movie enough. I loved it. I
Well, that's
liked
the
it more
thing.
than Dream Scenario too.
Yeah, I
you'll
definitely like this more than Dream Scenario, that's for sure. And this is the more
Yeah.
brutal film as well. Like this is so harrowing to watch. And then obviously they do at the end, like a lot of true event story films, they do like they put the pictures in of the real events that happened and they got and stuff like
I
that.
love that.
And it just
I
makes
always
you
love
like
that.
feel it even more. You're just like, fuck. Like people
It is
actually
fucked.
went
And-
through this.
You can see in the photos the body parts that aren't quite covered up like they did. When they
Yeah.
go into the photos, they show them covering up a rib cage. And then if you look in the real photo, you can see part of it sticking out. And you're like, holy shit, that's a real dead person there. And they've matched this identically. It makes you feel a certain way.
Yeah.
And it's not a good feeling, but you can't look away because it's amazing. It's like I don't know any other word to describe this film other than amazing. And go watch it right now. Because I loved it.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, it's just like it's a phenomenal feat for the filmmakers and everyone behind it all, and the actors themselves, like the actual performances. It was really like you felt them there type thing. If they like filmed this on like a film camera instead of digital, I feel like it would have been more authentic in a way, and then it would have been like maybe too authentic. It'd be like, is this the actual like real footage?
Yeah, that's definitely due to the Netflix location of it. It would
Yeah,
have been
yeah.
it would have needed more budget in order to do that for both the film and the
Oh, yeah.
conversion to
Oh, yeah.
Netflix.
Yes.
During the Netflix film, this might be the best Netflix film I've ever seen. I can't think of another one that was made for Netflix. I mean, the Killer was made for Netflix.
Killer
and
was
it's
made
like-
for Netflix.
I don't know. I honestly think I might prefer this to the Killer, but they're very different, and I don't think
Oh,
comparing
yeah.
them is a good thing. But I think this might be my favorite Netflix film. So,
Yeah,
the fact that
no.
it's doing so well, I love it. I'm very happy.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. So do you want to give
Yeah, is there
final
any-
thoughts, I
Yeah.
suppose? Yeah.
I suppose we can, unless there's anything else you wanted to talk about this film.
No, I can wrap it up in our final thoughts, I suppose. Because that's the thing. It came down to like the cast, and obviously they are unknown and everything like that, well, especially to us and everything like that. It's just like these phenomenal performances by each and every single one of them that you do see, and it was just like there was so much like they were actually going through it type thing, and how skinny they did get and how their bodies did form. And that's like an effort themselves, the entire cast doing that, not just one actor doing it, getting paid like $50 million to do that. These were probably just upcoming actors that probably aren't going to get paid a lot of money for this film, if we're being honest.
Yep.
And they've just put in so much effort for this film, and it'll be kind of interesting to see these guys hopefully maybe pop up in a few other things now, depending on how they do things and stuff like that. Because that's the thing, it is being talked about nearly everywhere, this movie. Even like a gaming podcast I listened to, they talked about it. They never talk about movies. And I was like, whoa, this must have made an impact on them. But yeah, I absolutely adored this film, how it was shot, how it was made, just everyone behind it. And it's such a harrowing experience. And yeah, I still can't get over that this was actually a real event that did happen and people actually put through this in real life. And it was just insane to hear about. So I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10.
Wow. Yeah, it's definitely deserved.
Yeah.
Like you said, the performances in this sell it. You feel like these people are really going through these events.
Yeah.
It's insane. The cinematography is as good as you'll ever see in anything, really. It's impressive environmental shots and claustrophobic tights. It's insane.
Yep.
It's got the best plane crash sequence we've ever seen in film history, I reckon. It's harrowing, claustrophobic, awful, but you can't look away. It's insane. The whole movie is awful, but you can't look away. That's the best term.
That's the best term for this movie. Yeah.
Filmmaking side alone, it's so impressive that this was even made, let alone that it's so good. And considering this film had been done before with the 90s and Alive, and then that's a good film in of itself. Like, this blows everything else away. Yeah. So I'm going to give Society of the Snow a 10 out of 10. Because I don't think this movie has any flaws. I think this movie's perfect from start to finish. This is definitely as good as it could have been. I can't pick a single thing I would have changed about this film. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Yeah. Wow. Kicking it off strong for the year. First 10 out of 10. Well, Clayton's 10 out of 10 anyway. Obviously, I don't know what art is according to Clayton.
You don't know art.
No, I don't know what art is. I definitely don't. I know poetry though. I definitely know that.
Poem.
But
give us a poem right now, off the top of your head. Come on, you know poetry.
Violets are red, roses are blue. Ha ha! I hate you.
I'm sad to announce that Barry is no longer a part of We Talk Film Podcast.
He's departed. Just make sure we clip that. We do it twice.
Yeah. We'll smash it together. Make it seem like I hate you. We need
exactly.
To spew off a few lines. I hate you, Barry. You're a terrible podcaster.
All right, I'm no longer uploading the YouTube side of things. I quit. I'm done. I resign.
I would like to retract my previous statements made against Benjamin Barry. He is a great podcaster, and he has okay takes about some films.
Yeah. I mean, I gave this one a 9. I didn't give it a 4, unlike your one.
All right.
Yeah.
I think a 9 is very fair. Very fair.
Yeah, very fair. Very fair. But yes, go and watch this film. Pre-warning though to watching Society of Snow, it is a very harrowing film. There is a lot of like very intense scenes about it. I know a couple of people that I did talk about, they had to like stop it and they're going to try and pick it up again because of those said scenes where they do start eating people and everything like that. Like it is extreme. It's an extreme film. So yeah, just be careful when you do first go into watching it. That's all I can say about that. So yes, I think that about wraps it up for the podcast then. Not really much else to say for this. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We're going to get our guns now. Yeah. Yeah. America. Where's the outro button? There it is.
Losing our minds.
All right. Well, see you, everybody. We'll catch you on next week. Make sure to stick around. Make sure to follow us on all the social medias. We're always here. Don't forget to see our beautiful faces on the YouTube side of things. And we will see you in next week's episode. Catch you guys all then. If I remember how to do buttons.
Bye now.